Hey everyone, see someone already checked in. I had trouble getting on here at first. So if I missed you, John, I'm sorry. I see someone's in here anyways. I don't know who it is. Let me know if you can hear me. I thought we would do a cemetery walk here in Mustang, Oklahoma. Let me turn this around. Let me get it off this panoramic here. When you do these lives on here, it's kind of weird how it starts off in panoramic. I don't want it in panoramic, but let's see. Okay, it sounds good. Okay, I have a windsock mic in, so just want to make sure the sound's good. But that's a Mustang water tower, and then the Mustang High School campus, or however you want to say it, is over there. Welcome from Tallahassee, Ireland, Illinois. There's another Ireland, Serenity Sioux. So we got several Irelanders here. Wanted to walk this cemetery and just tell some stories. I've been in this cemetery several times. Just to kind of give you an idea of what I do, I comb these rows in any cemetery. So I thought I would get on here and just kind of show you what I do. And it's kind of completely difficult to show you what I do whenever I'm walking around trying to research if I have coverage, or I've got a pen and a piece of paper and I write it down, I take it home, go home and research. So Elgin, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, welcome. UK, okay. Welcome everyone. And Wisconsin, we got people from all over. So yeah, I comb the cemetery, and I am really partial to finding veterans, and mainly because my family is a family that has a long line of service going back to the Revolutionary War. And so I thought we would just go through here and I'll show you kind of a little bit quick episode of how I do this. And I've been in this cemetery before, and some of these have stories, but maybe not enough to do a video all on their own. But possibly with your help, and if you do some research, maybe you can help me come back later and make a story. So like this one right here, Poto, Oklahoma, welcome everyone, northern Minnesota. Never been to Mustang, Oklahoma. Yeah, it's right here. Mustang, Oklahoma is, I guess, a suburb of Oklahoma City for all you guys that don't know or want to know. Hi, Tracy. But this is Everett C. Morris, Oklahoma, and it says Private First Class, 361st Infantry, 91st Division, World War II, October 20th to 1924. That's when he was born, to October 10th, 1944. So he almost got to his birthday of 20 years of age. He also has another marker over here. It says our son. And you can see it from the top here. So this is the Morris family plot. And all I know about him is that he received an injury in World War II in Italy, and then died that same day of his wounds. That's all I can find on him. So, you know, maybe with some research, with you guys helping, you can find out some citations or awards that he won. I mean, that's right in the middle over there overseas during World War II. If I've missed you, welcome. And thought I would just kind of comb the cemetery. Now this dirt, some of it is from them kind of leveling the cemetery where there's low-lying parts, but some of it is actually damage from moles. Little animals that live in the ground and burrow. I don't know if you have those where you're at, because I know we got people tuning in from all over the world. But this is another veteran right here. Actually, it's father and son. If you see here, they have this same name. Eric Wood is a fireman in the United States Navy during World War I, born November 20th, 1898 to May 28th, 1954. And then his son here, Eric Wood Jr., Oklahoma private in the 26th Marines, 5th Marine Division, World War II, June 2nd, 1926 to February 24th, 1945. I know he has to have a story, but I don't know anything other than what I've read here on the marker. And that's where I could use you guys. You know, sometimes people find something, whether they're using Google or all the other search engines. Sometimes the Mormon genealogy site says something, find a grave, which I've looked on there for him unless someone's put something recently. And then of course all the other things like Ancestry, stuff like that. When I've looked, I haven't seen anything on him, but gosh, he's got to have a story. And he passed away right in the middle, towards the end of World War II, but it makes you wonder about going up through the Pacific Islands or something. We got several people tuning in from, we see Denmark. If I've skipped you, I am sorry. So hello and welcome to the channel. Where's your town, Andy? I'm always looking for cemeteries to go to. So this one I do know the story on right here. He was in service during World War II, Wilbur D. Hinthorn. That shows up, I know the sun's kind of over here. Oklahoma, private first class in the 631st Field Artillery Battalion, World War II, excuse me, March 16th, 1920 to March 4th, 1944. So when I'm combing these cemeteries, I look for these dates, especially if they're in the middle of a war. You know, whether it's Desert Storm, World War II, World War I, that's kind of what I do. You'll see me, if you see some stranger walking each row, that's what I'm doing in a cemetery. And like I said, I've been in this cemetery before. So just because you see a video doesn't mean that that's my first time in a cemetery a lot of times. I don't know how many times I've been through here, but I wander the cemeteries of the Oklahoma City metro area and look for stories. And of course, there's a lot of stories in here of students that have died in car wrecks or murdered and stuff like that, and they're sad, and I might tell, but they're, you know, that's painful to the parents. So I do have Irish Eyes. I do have a lot of final resting places for Native Americans here. So that's a big part of the channel, actually. So those are a couple World War II veterans. There is one right up over here from what I remember. A couple things that's interesting. This one that's upright, that's tall, is interesting as well. Now, in addition to World War I and World War II, Vietnam, Korea, and some of them are veterans of multiple conflicts all on their own, you do see Civil War veterans here. So like this one is Augustus Darrow, 1841 to 1922, Company B, and he was of the Iowa Infantry. And you can see where it says here, that's the Grand Army of the Republic, is what that is. And then this one is just I guess kind of some Latin up there, but the family crest, Truth Prevails, Allison coat of arms. So it's their coat of arms right behind it. I've always thought that's an interesting monument. It says son Wayne Lee, grandchildren Tracy, Sarah, daughter Deborah Lee, grandchildren Amy and Brian. Through Christ's love, all nations shall become one. That's what it says there. Hello from Vermont. So we have Allison there, and we have Jim, 1920 to 2014, Betty, 1924 to 1982, and then we have a Mason here, Eastern Star down below, 1917 to 1988, and 1919 to 2005. Let me walk you over this way because there's a couple others I wanted to show you. There's some interesting stories in here. I'm just not sure it's enough to do a story all on its own. I like to do stories where I can do one individual, two or three, and have a lot to tell. And I don't really have that in this cemetery, but I do find the stories interesting. And of course, all these people are worth remembering. They each have a story. I've said it in other videos before, but these cemeteries are like libraries, right? So each little headstone, memorial marker, this is all like a card catalog, I guess you could say. If you're old school and you went in the old school libraries before you just typed it in a computer, you would pull the card catalog and then you would go and find the story, which is what I do. I write it down, or I research it right there, and I try to find the story, and then I go back and research it more. So it's kind of like checking out the book, if you will, and then trying to find more. I'm trying to remember where these graves are at, so bear with me for a second. There is one over here that's newer. Let's see what this says. I can see that the cement is newer. There's a couple here newer. So let's see what these say. We'll learn together here. So this is Sergeant in the United States Air Force. So it is newer concrete right there. Lloyd Ronald Davis, 1934 to 2018. Minnesota, we're getting people from all over here. In Australia, welcome. It's hard to catch the Australians a lot of times, so let's see what we got here on this flag here. Wayne Scott Bulwer, Specialist 5, U.S. Army, Vietnam, July 6, 1947 to February 1st, 2019. So, like I said, there's some interesting ones in here. There's one, I know I've been over here sometime. There's one lady, let's see if she's over here. I think it's an interesting one. I believe the husband is a veteran. I can't remember exactly. I want to say it's that one right there with the pink flowers. We're going to get some dogs barking here, so hopefully it's not too noisy. And hopefully the wind's not too bad. I hope everyone is doing well. See, Jody is up early, 6:30 a.m. in Australia. Appreciate you all tuning in. Let's see. Yeah, he is a veteran. This is the one I was looking for. It's kind of an old school marker. Married July 11th, 1920. The last name is Jarvis. John S., 1897 to 1981. And I think he was just a farmer. I think that's a plow right there, but it says veteran of World War I. And then Veta, if I'm saying that right, M, 1902 to 1997. If you look down below, it says famous for her hot rolls, which is pretty neat. Just let you know a little bit more about that. I don't know anything else about them. John may have a story. I don't know. I've never even bothered to look it up. But I think each one of these people has an interesting story. We just got to find what they are. And especially, I'm partial to the ones that have been in service just because of my family. But let's go over and find one that I'm looking for. It is very interesting. We got two more that are really interesting to show you in the cemetery. Let's see here. That looks like a new marker too here with a veteran. And I may be kind of backtracking once I find this one that I'm looking for. It is in a family plot area. So let's see here. Well, it says Joseph E. Hanna. It is kind of newer, I guess. Command Master Sergeant, United States Air Force. June 10th, 1940 to September 19th, 2019. Beloved father and grandfather. See, I think it's maybe over here. You have to bear with me. It's been a while since I've been in this cemetery. And let's see here if we've missed any questions. Almost Nürnberg. Let's see here. If you got any questions, go ahead and shoot with them. Noon in South Dakota. Kiddo came home from school. This live is much needed. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're oh, I did happen to get where I wanted to go without meaning it. But I hope your kiddo starts to feel better there. This is another one where it's a and you guys may help me out with that flag. I don't know what that flag is. So this is Company F, 142nd Infantry, but I don't know from where. Sergeant Elmer New. Maybe if you could look that up on Find a Grave real quick. And I think I've looked this up before, but I can't remember if it says anything or not. It's hard to remember all of these in the cemetery. July 18th, 1896 to October 9th, 1918. But man, that date right there, 1918, you know, it's right there. So I thought it was going to be older than this. As I'm looking at it again, it is newer, 1918. But it would have had probably a ceramic photo right there, I would say, or an emblem of some sort. But the reason why I wanted to bring you to the new family is there's several here. This is the new family plot. And there are some veterans, like that's a Korean veteran right there. But I wanted to show you this one. and it is a Mason. Levon B. New, October 9th, 1906 to August 14th, 1935. And he has a marker right here that tells a little bit more. Like I said, this is a old family plot here. You can see the border, and then it's kind of just been swallowed up by the grass. It would go all the way around those that we're showing. And I don't know if that's something that happened from World War I. Maybe some injuries caused him to pass away, die. But this is interesting. You can see we'll crouch down lower here. And this is the Turlock Police Department, dedicated to public safety and service. And you can see here's a badge, Turlock Officer, Police badge number 8. And this is another kind of coin. It's probably the reverse of this coin, would be my guess. But it says professionalism, honor, integrity, and then it says pride, respect, honesty, and ethics. But if you read here on the marker, try to hold it still here. Levon B. New, age 29, from Mustang, Oklahoma, where we're at, was the first police officer at the Turlock Police Department in Stanislaus County, California, to die in the line of duty on August 12th, 1935, as a motorcycle officer. He was involved in an auto accident pursuing a traffic offender. He died 2 days later at St. Joseph's Hospital in Stockton, California. And then his body was shipped back here to be buried with his family. Now, what took him to California, I do not know. I also do not know if he left behind a wife or children or any of that. The only information I know is right here on the marker. So, but it is an interesting one. As I walk the rows in the cemetery, it definitely stands out. And so if I've missed anyone saying hello, I want to say hi again and welcome. And like I said, these right here, these are from moles in the cemetery. An animal burrows underground, and they just kind of push that up, and they have all these tunnels under the ground. It's a big problem in Oklahoma, all over, not just in cemeteries. I actually had a dog as a kid, and it was a Brittany, what we used to call Brittany Spaniels, but I don't think they refer to them as Spaniels anymore. But I kind of lived sort of out in the country, 10 acre-ish, and she loved digging up those moles. And we had a neighbor that put out poison. That's what you do for those. And unfortunately, she dug down in there and got into the poison. Came back home and then sat underneath a tree, and she had, you know, just a stubby tail, and her whole rear end would wag when she saw me, and it just barely wagged. I took her water and food, and she didn't want any of it, but she ended up passing away underneath that tree out there, just from the poison of the mole holes. We couldn't ever get her to stop doing that. She was a really good dog. It's just unfortunate that she started digging and got in there with the poison. So like I said, these moles are a bad problem in Oklahoma. I don't know if they are where you're at. So I wanted to show you one other, and this really is a big story. Now, it is a story that I could tell in a video all of its own. This is a victim of the Oklahoma City bombing, the big terrorist act that happened on April 19th, 1995, as you can see here. Richard L., he was born January 3rd, 1940, and it does say the AP Mura Federal Building bombing, loving husband and father. Last name is Cummins. You can read a little bit more on him. There's some information on Find a Grave, but basically he was from another town, and I can't remember what that was, but he did live out here in the Mustang area, and he was a member of a Catholic church that is just a few miles that way from what I remember. And so he was active, very active in the community and his church, and he worked, I think, for over 30 years for the Department of Agriculture, and he was a special agent investigator, I think is what it was, and a criminal investigator, I guess, for the Department of Agriculture, for whatever the things that you investigate for that. But that's what he did. And he was a victim, and I've covered victims before in lives, like in Moore, Oklahoma, where I grew up. And they're spread throughout the Oklahoma City metro. And that's one of them right there. It's incredible, the widespread damage of that, and then all the family members that are affected by it. As it said, loving husband, so he left behind a wife, Frances, and then of course father. He had some kids. Here's an interesting one right here. If you look here, we got all aces right there. Henderson, Grady Truman, 1930 to 1996. Ella Maxine, 1934 to 2018. Thought I'd show you this one. There's a lot of little kids in this cemetery, and they're Disney fans. So I've seen one in here before that is, and I don't even know if I can find it, but it's Little Mermaid. This one right here is a huge Snow White statue here, right? I've got the character right. I'm not the biggest Disney fan, so I know some of it from my daughters. But Daddy's Little Angel, Courtly Aurora Gray, February 13th, 1996 to January 31st, 2003. Mama Sweetie Pie. Darling daughter of Lance and Lisa, big sissy of Kodiak Lehman and Colton Shawn. She brought sunshine to all our lives. If you want to see, we're directly by that water tower right there. So, very sad. That's very eye-catching because it's a statue that's painted. Okay, there's a Little Mermaid on this. I didn't remember this, but there's another one that has a Little Mermaid in this cemetery. This is our brave, darling daughter. Such a beautiful laughter. My heart cries today and forever after. And see, I think there's a... Now, there are several police officers here. I think maybe for the Mustang area, but for the most part, I think they were police officers in Oklahoma City. I seem to remember some police officers and firefighters up through there. But as we walked through, I didn't notice it right away. But like I said, I combed these grounds. I've walked all these grounds. Let's see here. You guys are talking about Billy the Kid, I see. Very controversial, and I think I saw where you guys are asking where is he really buried. Who knows, you know? The original thought is that he is buried in New Mexico, but the cemetery washed out. And once it washed out, they didn't know if they found his bones or not, and they tried to place it back in the spot where he was at. But the pallbearers for the funeral were actually arguing over where the exact spot he was in the cemetery. It's been controversial on whether or not Garrett really killed him because there were no photos produced. That's what people really want, but not everybody had a photo when they died, right? So, like, I've covered George Miller, Hooky Miller, and he had no photo of his death. So part of it is just the legend has grown so much. But I have covered a grave that is in Texas where someone claims to be Billy the Kid. And I've done some things like that on Jesse James too. They're not the only ones. Now, Jesse James has about 3 graves from 3 different people that claim that it was him in Texas, but there's also one, I think, in Kentucky. So there's no telling on some of those guys. You just kind of have to do the research and then see what you believe yourself. Okay, so this is a police officer right here for Oklahoma City, flying with angels. You can see that there's a hot air balloon. Daryl C. Jameson, July 17th, 1958 to June 26th, 2004. You can see an Oklahoma City police badge. Beloved husband of Pamela, father of Alyssa and Adam, and a friend to all. God give us love, something to love he lends. But it says Oklahoma City Police Medal for Meritorious Service. So I don't know. That makes me think that he died in the line of duty. This is one that I have not researched at all. I just remember seeing the marker. What's on the other side is incredible. This guy lived a full life if he did all this stuff. You can see a photo of him there. Flyboy. Great photo of him. But it looks like he could have been a police helicopter pilot and some other kind of helicopter pilot. Maybe that was his own personal. Maybe it was a news helicopter pilot. But he flew, you know, what is that, a Cessna, and then a hang glider. and he was a Jeep enthusiast. He liked hot air balloons. And then you can see an old school Oklahoma City police officer patrol car. But this dash poem down here is just basically talking about it's something we can all live by. I've read this before and seen it on other graves, but it's basically talking about the date that they were born and the date where they passed away or died. And it is sad, but it goes on to mention about what did you do with what was in between your birthday and your date of death, that dash. What did that dash mean? And obviously he lived his life to his fullest, loving husband and father, and did all those things there, and was into community service, being a police officer. So, because it ends and it says, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash, is how that poem ends. And that's what that's about. If I have missed you, I apologize. I see you guys are talking to each other. The thing I don't like about lives, one is I'm looking out here in the sun, but two is it doesn't automatically scroll up and pop on the screen. So I apologize if I've missed your comment. Just walked in, apologies for being late. You don't have to apologize. I appreciate you all tuning in. Now, standing over where that police officer is, I see a marker over here with an American flag and what looks to be like a colonel insignia, or it could be captain if he was Navy. So I don't know if we're going to see anything up close or not. So it doesn't show anything else. Maxine Ruth, January 8th, 1932 to September 17th, 2010. And George Philip, May 16th, 1934 to November 23rd, 2005. Married in 1955. God loves you, and so do I. You can see a photo of them. Great photo of their wedding day. So, okay, here we go. We'll have a little bit more right here. We've got George Philip Morris Sr., Tech Sergeant, United States Air Force, Korea and Vietnam. So that is his military marker there. Like I said, there's a lot of military markers in this cemetery, World War I and World War II especially. And all of them could have some sort of story, even if they lived much longer. But there are some that have passed away in service while they were in service, and those are the ones that I'm really wanting to find and find more information on. So if you're just tuning in, I could certainly use your help in finding more about these people, or like this one right here, William H. Dunn, D-U-N-N, and it looks like Company I of the 83rd Indiana Infantry. No date of birth, no date of death. So things like that would be great to find out more. And like I said, I comb these cemeteries just looking for something to have it pop out at me. And sometimes you can be in this cemetery or any cemetery and notice one time, but you didn't notice it the time before when you visited. Harmon Smith, Company D, 2nd Illinois Cavalry. But there's definitely some interesting ones. There's an older part that kind of goes along the center of this cemetery. This is kind of neat too, an old school like water pump right here in the cemetery. So yeah, someone doing gardening over here at this house, I guess, on the outside of our fence. The dogs are going crazy. But yeah, look at this pump. Let's see what it says, if it's got a date on it or anything. It just says red jacket. It's definitely an old school one. I don't know how old. I am not a pump expert. U-27, if that means anything to anyone. It doesn't to me. But I'm sorry you guys are talking to yourself. Just trying to walk around. You got to watch your step in these cemeteries for several reasons. There's little dips in here, just natural where the ground just kind of settles from the grave, but then also the moles, like I was saying. And then you got to watch for these low-lying markers that you can trip on like that right there. So anyways, it's a nice day out today. It's supposed to be kind of pleasant tomorrow. It's a little windier today. There's no wind yesterday, so I came out here yesterday, I guess, and walked the cemetery. Daryl Jameson died in a helicopter crash. I guess I'm lost in the chat here. Howdy from Montana. Hello. Civil War graves. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, Barbara. Appreciate the super chat there. A little support for your channel. I appreciate that. I was reading on Sergeant News Family, said his mother died in 1927 from injuries of a cyclone. See, I appreciate that research, Mary. Right over there. Let's see if we can find the mother. Let's turn this around. You know what? You don't want to look at that woolly beard too much. Now he's back over this way. It's kind of hard to find them sometimes, but there, you know, you see the shine of the badge that they placed on there from the Turlock Police Department. That's what I remember about him. He's somewhere over here. Okay, here it is. So I see his badge shining. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but it has all different kinds of angles. Here see, someone's come along here. Thomas J. Smith, Company E, 2nd Missouri Cavalry. They came back later and put dates on here. May 2nd, 1841 to June 24th, 1916. So that's always nice when they did this, because the older markers like that, they don't tell a whole lot. And they abbreviate the names a lot of times. So let's see. Now Mary, 1927. So right here, Laura May. Is this the one you're talking about? Hi from Wisconsin. Appreciate you all joining in. Lynn, Robin, Cowboy. Yeah, I try not to walk on them, but you know, here's the deal. It's really difficult not to sometimes in a cemetery, and I do try to walk on the edge or in between. But you have to realize that these people that care for this cemetery, whether they're grave diggers or they're people that edge and mow, they walk on top of these. And I hope everyone realizes that, because I do kind of help care for some cemeteries, and you can't help it. You cannot help doing that. And you just try to be respectful as possible, right? So I don't do rubbings. I don't scrub monuments or anything unless they're down buried and I'm trying to bring them back up. And of course, if you got dirt like this, you can't mow over that with any kind of tractor or mower or anything. You'll do damage to it. So you've got to get out and walk on top of that grave and sweep that. And those are from moles, like I said. Let's see if I missed it. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Interesting. In Pennsylvania and North Carolina, we got them from all over. Yeah, they've done a number. They're bad in this cemetery, and some years they're worse than others. I've seen this cemetery worse before. So that's interesting. Mary let us know that this was a cyclone that killed Laura here. So sad. You know, you start thinking about 1927. We were the first state that I know of that had a tornado warning system here in Oklahoma. I could be wrong on that, so don't take that as a fact. But here's another new family member. But you know, you start talking about some of the tornadoes here in Oklahoma, they didn't have warning systems in TV and radio. Jennifer Jean New, and she's got a medal on right there. So she entered something there. August 22nd, 1981 to December 12th, 2007. It says Our Precious. Like I said, there's several new members here. The New family. N-E-W, in case that's not showing up. And someone has left a penny here on Levon Bain New, and I assume that this is in honor, like Bain could be this guy that we visited earlier, his middle name. I don't know what his middle name is actually, but October 1st 1929 to March 15th 2013, and he was a Korean War veteran, devoted to his family, it says, in a cross up top. And there's one here with a this might be, like I was telling you guys, there were were firefighters in here and police officers and stuff. No, let's see. This is some Latin, I think, up there, and a cross with a crown on it. I thought maybe it was a badge from the fire department or something. Now, from what I remember, there is one, now that I'm thinking about it. There is a an iron cross over on that other side. I don't know if we can find it or not. Now, okay, here's one. Did we show this earlier? We're getting kind of mixed up because this is a new marker, but it says he's a Bronze Star recipient and he has a Purple Heart. So someone like that could have a great story. This is a newer one, and I don't know that I've ever noticed this one before. Staff Sergeant, United States Army, World War II, May 22nd, 1922 to December 18th, 2016. Now, somewhere in this cemetery, there is one that is that received a Silver Star. And somehow, I guess I wrote Silver Star down in my notes, and then I do not have the name. And I can't even remember where I saw it. So that's the other thing, is at some point I'm gonna have to walk this whole cemetery and try to find that person again. Okay, someone's asking, still video from Fort Worth, Texas. I am gonna have 2 more stories from that cemetery that I just did a story on. Jim the Killer Miller. I'm gonna have at least 2 more. I've got another story, maybe a couple that I could do. However, I haven't decided if I'm going to make them public or not. It's another one of those things where I don't know if there's enough to make public. I don't know if there's enough of a story. So it may be one that I make for the members just as a short history lesson on them. It's fascinating history, don't get me wrong. But there's not much to tell. One of them in the cemetery is a very, very old grave, like before there were ever any white people around. It's a Native American grave, and they discovered this lady. They believe it was a lady. So they think that you know, she's unique, and they've got a marker for her, but there's nothing listed. They don't know a name or anything because it is very old. Hundreds of years old from what I remember, and maybe even 1,000 or so. I can't remember. I need to do some more research on it and make a video on it, but it's another one where there's not enough to tell or put out on its own, a video on its own. And there's several in that cemetery. That cemetery is full of history. People that did, you know, little shops in the area are known for creating Fort Worth, Hell's Half Acre. So I've got more stories in there. Some of it sort of ties in with, if you guys are fans of 1883 with Yellowstone, they kind of touched on a historical character in that series. And so I'll be explaining more history so you know who you're talking about. Now, when they had him in that series, they didn't explain a whole lot, and I don't feel like it looked accurate. But it's a good actor. Billy Bob Thornton is who played it, but this is a little kids section. These are always sad to me. You can see little toys on it, and just out of respect, we're not really going to read the names or anything, but you can see little toy cars and little dolls, stuffed animals, stuff like that. Very sad. Sorry about that. Trying to get it off of that zoom. I think there is one. Okay, I see it. Excuse me, it's kind of dry out here. Windy, and it's dry in my throat. Need some water. Hello from Texas. I've definitely got a lot more coming from Texas, and some of them, if you guys enjoy the Old West, I kind of made it my mission. I wanted to do it in 2020. Things happened, couldn't do it, so I saw a bunch in 2021, so I've got to play catch up and get those videos out. There's some big Old West things. Look at this one. I love finding things like this. Obviously a snow skier, pheasant hunter probably, deer hunter, fisherman. We got him with a shotgun and a 4-wheeler there. And what is that? Jarman? Can't read the signature. It's very personalized. Might be art by that individual. Oh, it's a young one. It's a young kid. Jamin Tyler Matherty. Don't be afraid, just believe. And you can see some different items here. 1986 to 2001. You can see a photo of him there. And then looks like he was a soccer player, because there's a medallion there that says champion. So that's interesting. I was trying to make my way over to this one. I've been to this one. This is another semi-young one. I think he's like around 1920. But I guess what do you call these? Stock cars? Or not stock cars, but some kind of race car. I see these on dirt tracks. What do you call those? And they just go around in a circle, and they're kind of weighted on that one side, you know, to counterbalance it. And it's got a signature there, so I don't know if he was really well known within that circuit. I mean, he's got some sponsors on that car, it looks like, but it's some kind of racing that's kind of big here in a couple areas in Oklahoma. Ryan Craighead, June 7th, 1982 to May 10th, 2001. So I don't know, that's a huge marker. Certainly not cheap to do something like that. And it's just, I like it because it has benches there, so friends and family can come and sit and remember, spend some time with him. Very personal though. Another young one here, Matthew Thomas Etheridge, July 24th, 1983 to June 22nd, 2000. So just a young one. There's a lot of these in this cemetery. And you know, I suppose there's a poem here. They were all students of Mustang High School, which is right over here. And I've seen some over the years, you know, the car wreck, or somebody's hit them on accident, you know, with a car. There's just all sorts of sad stories, but every cemetery has them. And so like I said, I'll continue to dive into some of these. Okay, I've been on for 42 minutes. If I miss your question, we'll walk back to my car sitting over here, but if you got anything, I'll definitely answer it. And I'm going to comb through the comments in case you guys find anything on the ones that we see today, because maybe you guys have found enough to do a story, especially with the new family over there and the mother dying from a cyclone. So a tornado, twister, what we call them here in Oklahoma. Nasty things, nasty, right? So we don't deal with a lot of snow, and this year's been really good. Last year was nasty in Oklahoma, but this year it's been pretty good. Nice temperatures. It's supposed to have like a dusting of snow, so it's big news here in Oklahoma. But you know, compared to last year, we ought to be tougher than that. We had a lot of snow and ice damage. So hi from Janice in Fairbanks. Hello Janice, I see you commenting all the time. And Maddie, 99 cents. Yeah, to become a member, it's 99 cents. I've had trouble with the Teespring, right? But there's a 15% discount. I'm going to try and get that up running today. I was having problems with their website for some reason yesterday. But there'll be a 15% discount on any merchandise if you become the Undertaker level membership, which is $4.99. The $9.99 will get you everything above. So all the videos I've got on there, and I'm going to have other posts. A lot of the stuff that I have that only has a little story, but it's also going to get some homemade ornaments that Sarah makes. They're really good. I need to do a live and show you some of these ornaments. We sent some out to some of the people that were on Patreon last year. We weren't able to this year because we had some funerals going on and some different things, so we couldn't do it. She couldn't make them, just didn't have time. The goal is to make a bunch throughout the year so that they're ready. So she's already been making them for this December. And that's what we're going to do when you're a deputy sheriff member on the channel. So you do not have to become a member. It does help out. There are some benefits on there, like you're going to get the videos released one day early. And then also there'll be videos that are exclusive to the members. But otherwise, you guys aren't going to notice anything different. It's been kind of a crazy, hectic week. So I will have a video for tomorrow, but for members, and then that means for everybody else, that video will come out on Saturday morning. So just a heads up on that. It's going to be different. I'm trying to do a series where we're recognizing some World War II heroes, and they're people that you guys are going to know. And I just felt that it was a big need because everybody knows these people, but they don't always know what they did in their time of service. in the military, so I'm wanting to showcase some of that. 8 p.m. in Scotland. Okay, appreciate you tuning in from Scotland. It's always great to see where you're from and your name and all that. But I am going to sign off here. I appreciate you all tuning in from Georgia and Ireland and all kinds of places. I saw Minnesota and Canada, New Zealand. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this little cemetery walk. If you happen to do any research on this at all, and you find out anything on this, I appreciate it, Peg, for becoming a shopkeeper. That's going to get you a lot of videos. I think there's like 14 on there, and there'll be one tomorrow, so that'll be 15 different ones for you to watch. I'm not even sure if that includes, I've got some past lives where we go through and do cemetery visits like this. One, there was cemetery damage where there was vandalism. One is another that I'm visiting a bunch of sort of orphan kids in a foggy cemetery, so it's kind of interesting. But those are on there to view. And if the lives are interesting, we'll keep it up. So like this one right here, we'll keep it up on there forever. And I'll keep it on this channel for a couple days. But anyways, I appreciate you becoming a member there, and I hope you enjoy the extra content. And feel free to join, and then if it's not what you thought, you can not join the next month. You don't have to keep doing it, but we're going to keep popping things on there, and then you can join in a few more months and then watch all the content. When you watch it all, then, you know, cancel your membership. There's no obligation or anything. So it's just a little bit extra to help us as we try to go around the country and tell some stories. My goal is to get some old gangsters from the 20s and 30s and a bunch of other stories that are here in Oklahoma and in other states too. Definitely Kansas and Missouri and probably Texas, but who knows where. There's a lot. I'd still like to go out west and cover more, especially Arizona, where Cowboy's from, not where he's at now. But I appreciate you all tuning in, and like I said, look for a video if you're a member on Friday. If not, it will come out Saturday, so don't worry. It's going to be there for you to watch. Appreciate you all tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Like I said, if you find anything, leave it in the comments, and maybe we can come back and do a full story on some of the ones that we've shown. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.